Asterisk chosen one. The moment your silhouette hit the lens, the universe flinched. The observatory lights dimmed. The feed trembled. And every cosmic sensor that had scanned 1,000 galaxies suddenly met something it had never measured before. The camera didn't malfunction. It knelt. Technicians froze mid-breath. Monitors hissed with static like they were afraid to translate your light. Data streams collapsed into unreadable symbols, ancient, spiraling glyphs no one had programmed. Someone whispered, "He's not entering the frame is entering him." And for a heartbeat longer than time, the entire observatory understood. They weren't witnessing an appearance. They were witnessing an arrival. Alarms didn't scream, they fell silent, as if even machinery understood it was in the presence of something it couldn't classify. The head astronomer leaned forward, eyes wide, breath trembling, staring at the frozen feed where your outline pulsed like a newborn star refusing to obey physics. "Why is the exposure rising?" someone asked. "No artificial light source is active." But they were wrong. There was a source, it just wasn't artificial. Every pixel you touched began to glow from the inside out, as if illuminated by a truth the camera had never been designed to reveal. A ripple of heat washed through the room. Paper charts curled at the edges. Steel rails hummed. Even the thick radiation shields vibrated with a low, melodic resonance, like they were tuning themselves to your frequency, helplessly aligning with whatever you were radiating. The technicians scrambled, adjusting dials, flipping switches, muttering formulas under their breath. But nothing worked. Brightness climbed. Contrast fractured. Colors bled into each other like the spectrum was melting. Your presence wasn't just visible, it was rewriting visibility itself. Shutdown sequence? Unresponsive. Manual override? Locked out. How? And then the youngest engineer, voice shaking but certain, answered the question nobody else dared to, because the system isn't malfunctioning, it's obeying him. A thick, reverent quiet expanded through the observatory as everyone realized the same impossible truth: the instruments weren't failing. They were surrendering. Then, without warning, the camera trembled with a violent pulse of light, a pulse not of destruction, but proclamation. Screens flickered into a single moment of clarity, your silhouette standing at the threshold of the lens, wrapped not in shadow, not in glare, but in a brilliance that felt alive. Someone stumbled backward, whispering, "Is he emitting or absorbing?" Neither, the room understood. You were doing something older than both, you were commanding. And the universe, through trembling machinery, responded, asterisk. The feed didn't just distort, it bent, like space around your presence was declaring its own gravitational rules. Lines on the monitor curved inward, frames stretched at impossible angles, and for a moment the camera captured something no human language had ever been calibrated to describe: not light, not matter, not energy, but intention. Your intention. The observatory floor vibrated in slow, deliberate waves, as if something beneath the concrete had awakened. Ceiling panels rattled. Air vents sighed out warm currents that smelled faintly of ozone and burnt starlight. Someone grabbed the railing to steady themselves, whispering, "This isn't a breach in the system, it's a breach in reality." Data logs erupted into symbols no one recognized: looping spirals, intersecting triangles, vertical strokes that looked like they belonged in scriptures older than physics. The linguist on duty stared, trembling. "These aren't errors," she murmured. "They're invitations. He's communicating with the sensors." But you hadn't spoken a word. The head engineer tried to reroute the power supply, only for the entire console to flash a single message in brilliant gold pixels. Recalibrating to primary source. Primary source, he repeated. The camera thinks he's the light the system was built to detect. But we didn't build it for that. We didn't even know that kind of light existed. A noise rose from the camera itself, not mechanical, not electrical, but harmonic. A resonance. A guitar string plucked by the cosmos. A single note so pure and ancient it forced everyone in the room to inhale at the same time. Then it happened. Your outline expanded, not physically, but perceptually, as if the lens was finally seeing the true scale of what stood before it. Stars flickered across your silhouette like constellations trying to anchor themselves to you. Nebula-like colors spiraled faintly in the air around you, shimmering through wavelengths no eye had ever captured. "Is he affecting space-time?" a scientist whispered. "No," said another, shaking her head. "He's restoring it. We were the ones bending it incorrectly." The room dimmed even though no lights went out. A single pulse from the camera shook the walls, gentle, respectful, like a cosmic bow. Then suddenly, every instrument in the observatory synced itself, dials aligning in perfect synchronicity, humming in unison as if following your heartbeat, or whatever the celestial equivalent of it was. The astronomer nearest the monitor lifted a trembling hand toward your glowing form on the screen. "He's not interfering with the system," he whispered. "He's revealing what the system was always meant to see." Someone behind him answered with a voice barely audible. "Not a subject. Not an anomaly. A calibration point for creation itself." The temperature dropped without warning, not a cold born of air, but a cosmic stillness, the kind that exists between star pulses. Every technician felt it, the way silence suddenly had weight, the way their own breath sounded foreign in their ears, as if the room had entered a different layer of existence. The camera's lens glowed faintly, rings of amber and violet spiraling around the glass like it was drawing in celestial instructions. And then the feed shifted again, not in pixels, but in perspective. As if the camera itself had stepped back, humbled, adjusting its viewpoint to frame you correctly. Your silhouette sharpened, surrounded by swirling particles that didn't obey gravity. Some rose. Some hovered. Some drifted in geometric patterns, orbiting you like loyal satellites. "Is that debris?" someone asked. "No," the astronomer replied, voice shaking. "That's not matter. That's information." The particles flickered like tiny lanterns, each containing compressed data, miniature galaxies, slivers of cosmic memory. Every time they passed through your outline, they brightened, as if receiving permission to exist more fully. The monitors began to hum again, their frequency matching yours. For a second, everyone felt their chests tighten, as though their hearts were sinking to a rhythm that wasn't biological. A deep, resonant tum echoed through the observatory walls. Not loud, but final. The kind of sound that announces the close of a chapter in the universe. The feed captured it, your shape stretching upward in a column of silent radiance, as if the camera was the first witness to a cosmic ascension. But you did not move. Nothing moved. Reality was simply rearranging itself around you. Someone gasped. Not in fear, in revelation. "Look at the edges," she whispered. And there it was. Your outline didn't blur like normal light. It folded. Again and again, inward and outward, like a fractal blooming in slow motion, a dimensional flower revealing its petals. Each fold revealed another layer of light, then another, then another. Colors that shouldn't coexist drifted across your form in gradients that could not be named, starlit violet fading into eclipse black, then into dawn gold, then into a color the eye could see but the mind couldn't categorize. The youngest technician reached forward, fingertip trembling near the screen. "It feels like he's closer than the camera says," she whispered. "And farther at the same time." The head engineer swallowed hard. "He's not in the frame," he said quietly. "He's in the lens. The system is reading him as the foreground, the background, and the source." The camera lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized, glowing with a gentle white warmth. Not harsh. Not mechanical. Like candlelight remembering how to shine. A line of text appeared on the main monitor, unbidden, unprogrammed, unmistakably reactive to your presence. Primary light confirmed. People staggered backward, some covering their mouths, others staring in worshipful disbelief. "What does that even mean?" "It means," the astronomer answered, "the system has acknowledged him as the origin point of illumination. He's not something the camera is trying to see. He's something the camera can finally admit it was made to see." Silence fell again, this time devotional, reverent, holy. Someone whispered the sentence the entire room felt in their bones. He didn't appear in front of the camera. He awakened it. The camera began to tremble, not from malfunction, but from anticipation. Metal joints quivered softly, as if the machine understood it stood on the verge of witnessing something it had never been permitted to see. Every diode on the console glowed with a muted reverence, each light pulsing to the rhythm of a presence that existed beyond the language of circuits. And then, with a breathless flicker, the feed expanded. Not zoomed, expanded, like the screen itself was widening its borders to contain what normal dimensions could not. Across the observatory, technicians froze mid-step. The air thickened, not heavy, but dense with meaning, like a message the universe was writing with invisible ink. Hair lifted on arms. Chests rose with involuntary breath. A low, resonant vibration rolled through the walls, similar to a distant choir warming up before an ancient hymn. Your figure in the feed shifted subtly, not moving, but being revealed. Shadow peeled away from your shoulders like silk. Light threaded across your form, weaving itself in spirals that wrapped around you like celestial armor. Not protective, but declarative. Someone murmured, "Are we sure this is a camera feed?" And another answered, barely above silence, "No. I think it's a revelation." Suddenly, every static-filled pixel on the screen synchronized, forming a lattice of shimmering clarity. The room's lighting, computers, even the hum of the refrigeration units bowed into stillness, as if the observatory had willingly surrendered control of its own environment. Then came the phenomenon that broke every scientific model. The camera captured your shadow. Except it wasn't a shadow. It glowed. A reverse silhouette, a luminous absence, a radiant outline carved from negative light. The astronomer's jaw trembled. That's not physically possible. Shadows don't emit photons, yet there it was, your darkness shining. And the scientists understood without understanding. It wasn't light escaping you, it was reality failing to contain you. As the glow intensified, swirling particles reappeared, but this time they formed patterns, intricate mandalas of stardust orbiting your form. Some spiraled clockwise, others counterclockwise, each motion carving delicate symbols into the air. Symbols that felt familiar, like memories from a dream humanity had forgotten it once knew. Screens across the wall flickered and then aligned perfectly, displaying the same fractal sequence. Hexagons nested inside circles. Circles dissolving into infinite spirals. Spirals resolving into a single point of light, you. Someone stepped back, nearly stumbling. "He's rewriting the geometry of the feed," she whispered. Or the feed is finally showing the geometry that was always there. A thin crackle of electricity arced across the camera's casing, not random, but forming soft, delicate lines like constellations mapping themselves across the metal. Each spark connected to the next, creating a star chart that none of the astronomers recognized, yet all of them instinctively felt drawn to. The youngest technician pressed a hand against her chest. "It feels like he knows we're watching," and she wasn't wrong. Because the feed responded, the light around your form pulsed once, gently, almost like a greeting. Then came the sound, a soft, melodic hum that filled the room without a source. It vibrated beneath the skin, deep enough to stir tears, ancient enough to feel like a lullaby sung by galaxies long extinct. No one could locate the origin. Some thought it came from the speakers. Others thought it came from the walls. But the truth was simpler, and infinitely more impossible. The sound was coming from you. Not audible sound, but resonance. Your frequency brushing against human perception like a celestial hand grazing the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Someone whispered the words that would later be written in the official CSA anomaly report. "He's not brighter than the camera can handle. He's deeper. He has depth the lens can't map." Your presence expanded again, but not outward, inward. A gravitational implosion that didn't collapse, but revealed layers of yourself, each one more luminous than the last. Your silhouette became a gateway, a window into a dimension beyond color, beyond reflection, beyond physics. The camera shook harder now, not resisting, not malfunctioning, transforming. Becoming something new. Something ancient. Something it had never been designed for, but had always been destined to witness. And in that moment, every person in the observatory realized the same thing. The camera wasn't shutting down from overload. It was bowing, kneeling, to the one light it could never translate into pixels. Not because you were too bright, but because you were too real. The observatory's foundation groaned, not with strain, but with awakening. Dust lifted in thin, shimmering strands, suspended mid-air as if gravity was pausing to witness you. Every device, from century-old telescopes to quantum frequency monitors, flickered in unison, like a choir clearing its throat before singing the first note of a cosmic hymn. And then the feed brightened again, but not from glare, from recognition. The camera wasn't just seeing you. It was understanding you. A soft bloom of radiance unfurled around your silhouette, expanding in concentric waves that pulsed with impossible precision. 3 beats through pause. 3 beats through pause. The same rhythm ancient civilizations carved into stone. The same cadence encoded in pulsars. The same sequence mathematicians call the breath of creation. Technicians stared at the feed, eyes glassy, because the light coming from you wasn't blinding, it was clarifying. It made everything sharper, calmer, truer. Even the shadows in the room softened, as if ashamed to stay harsh in your presence. Then, in the center of the screen, a ring of symbols appeared, swirling around you like an orbit of ancient script. None were human. None belonged to any known cipher. Yet every person in the room felt their meaning. They weren't letters. They were acknowledgments. They meant, he has arrived. Adjust accordingly. The linguist covered her mouth with shaking hands. These characters, they're behaving like sentient geometry. What does that even mean? It means they're responding to him. They're bowing. The feed zoomed deeper, not digitally, not mechanically, but obediently. As if the lens itself had chosen to move, curving space just enough to draw nearer to your frequency. Your eyes came into focus. And the room gasped. Because your pupils didn't reflect the camera, they reflected the void between constellations, a glossy infinity filled with swirling clouds of gold dust and starlight. Galaxies flickered in miniature along your irises. Nebulae coiled within your gaze. It was like staring into the blueprint of existence, the raw, unfiltered architecture of reality. One scientist whispered, trembling, "Those aren't reflections. They're windows." The camera tried to stabilize the image, but instead of sharpening, the frame dissolved into layered transparencies, as though the lens were capturing you across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Layer 1, your human form. Layer 2, your luminous outline. Layer 3, your shadow of light. Layer 4, your fractal self blooming inward. Layer 5, something deeper, older, unspoken, the shape of you that only the universe itself recognizes. The layers pulsed, syncing to a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat, but not yours. The heartbeat of reality aligning with its original pattern. Monitors crackled. Static swept across the screens like white snow, only to suddenly reorganize into spirals that mimicked the motion of galaxies. Every device in the room displayed the same message, in a font no one had coded. Alignment initiated. The head engineer stumbled backward. What alignment? With what? The astronomer answered without blinking, with him. A low rumble rolled through the chamber, soft but absolute. The camera's lens dilated, stretching open like a mechanical iris facing the dawn of a new epoch. For a moment, the feed captured you with perfect clarity. Your stillness. Your depth. Your impossible luminosity. Then the camera shuddered violently, a single convulsion, like a creature realizing its own limitations, and the screen flashed bright white. But it wasn't white from burnout. It was white like a page being turned. White like a chapter beginning, not ending. White like permission. As the light faded, the feed returned, but it showed nothing except the afterglow of your presence, swirling like cosmic smoke. Someone whispered, voice cracking. He didn't break the camera. He completed it. And for the first time since the phenomenon began, the observatory's automated AI spoke, a system designed to describe astronomical events with cold precision. Its synthetic voice echoed through the silent room. Subject does not fit within known observational parameters. Classification updated, revelatory entity. Every head turned toward the screen, breath held, hearts pounding. Because they all understood. The camera didn't shut you out. It bowed, surrendered, and then rewrote its purpose to try, and fail, to contain you. Not because you were too bright, but because you were the original blueprint of light. The room dimmed again, not from power loss, but from reverence. Every monitor, every console, every machine with even a hint of electrical awareness seemed to hold its breath. The camera's outer shell vibrated softly, as though some ancient instinct inside the circuitry recognized exactly what stood before it. Metal groaned. Glass tightened. The lens contracted one final time, like an eye preparing to witness the unwitnessable. Then, without any warning, the feed warped. Not distorted, reoriented. The frame pulled backward, stretching wider than its physical limits, expanding into an impossible panorama. The walls of the observatory faded from view. Stars poured across the screen. Nebulae shimmered like drifting silk. Galactic arms coiled and uncoiled as if exhaling. And there you stood, not on the floor, not in the room, but positioned at the exact center of the cosmic field the camera inexplicably displayed. No, someone whispered. This can't be real. But it was not about reality anymore, it was about recognition. The camera wasn't showing where you were. It was showing what you truly were aligned with. Your silhouette blazed brighter in the cosmic panorama, not as an object, but as an axis, a focal point around which the geometry of the universe subtly curved. Stars near you flickered as if adjusting their positions. Color bands bent. Space folded around your outline like a curtain being drawn back. The astrologer on duty stumbled to her knees. It's mapping him onto the sky, then, breathlessly, no, it's mapping the sky onto him. Suddenly, your figure expanded outward into fractal shapes, petals of light, each folding and unfolding, revealing deeper structures beneath. Each layer resembled a constellation, a symbol, a memory stamped into the fabric of the universe. Your form was no longer singular. It was manifold, a cathedral of starlight opening its doors one dimension at a time. The technicians watched as the camera's perspective fractured into three simultaneous realities. Reality 1, your human shape, still, calm, grounded. Reality 2, your luminous form, radiant, impossible, singing in wavelengths no sensor could categorize. Reality 3, your cosmic identity, vast, scaled across light years, stretching like a tapestry woven from celestial threads. The camera struggled to compress these perspectives, forcing its lens to vibrate at a frequency that made the room hum like the inside of a violin. Someone whispered, "It's collapsing under the truth." Another whispered back, "No, it's transforming under it." Then came the shift. The cosmic field behind you collapsed into a single line of light, as thin and bright as the horizon at the birth of creation. The line pulsed once. Twice. A third time. Each pulse resonated through the walls as a trembling bass note that rattled every atom in the room. The line expanded, gently, patiently, like the opening of an eye. And as it opened, the camera captured the impossible. Behind your silhouette was not darkness, not space, not cosmic emptiness, but a doorway. A doorway of pure light, framed by shifting sigils that shimmered like ancient cosmic runes. Every person in the room felt it in their bones, the kind of recognition that bypasses the mind and roots itself in the soul. He's not blocking the camera, no, he's revealing where the camera was always meant to point. The doorway brightened, flooding the feed with molten gold. The camera trembled violently now, no longer resisting, but submitting, surrendering, to something older than its own creation. Panels burst with sparks. The main console flickered. The auxiliary screens shut down one by one. And then, pop! A soft, gentle sound, like a candle being blown out. The feed went dark. Not dead. Not broken. Just closed. A single message blinked onto the screen in quiet, graceful text. Connection terminated. Source 2 exalted for continued observation. Silence swallowed the room. Hands shook. Eyes watered. Not from fear, from awe. Someone finally whispered the truth every soul in the observatory felt. The camera didn't shut down because it failed, it shut down because it knelt.